that it's going to be Shadeur the rest of the way because I think they do see something in him. So I think Dylan will be back with the team next year. I don't know if he's going to get much of an opportunity the rest of this year. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they take a look at this and say, maybe we could just use one more game or two more games of Dylan Gabriel for more data, heading into the season. I doubt that's going to happen. I don't think you're going to see Dylan Gabriel on the field this season unless Shadeur has to come out of the game for one reason or another, gets hurt, can't start a game, whatever. I think.
There it is right there. Dylan is done. Stick off.
The Cleveland Browns just made it official, and Dylan Gabriel's season is essentially over. After weeks of speculation and debate, the organization has finally drawn the line. Shadeur Sanders is their guy moving forward, and Gabriel isn't getting his job back. This wasn't a sudden decision. This was the Browns looking at the tape, looking at the potential, and realizing they need answers about their future. And those answers aren't coming from Dylan Gabriel anymore. The expert laid it out perfectly. Unless something catastrophic happens to Shadeur, unless he gets hurt or physically can't suit up, Dylan is riding the bench for the rest of 2025. That's not speculation. That's reality. And honestly, it's about time. The Browns have been dancing around this decision for weeks, trying to be diplomatic, trying to keep everyone happy. But you can't build a winning franchise by avoiding tough calls. You make the call, commit to it, and move forward. And that's exactly what Cleveland just did. What makes this so significant is what it reveals about how the organization views both quarterbacks. They're not just benching Dylan because Shadeur had a couple of decent games. They're benching Dylan because they see something different in Shadeur, something Dylan doesn't have. That intangible quality, that confidence, that ability to elevate the people around him even when everything is falling apart. Shadeur has it. Dylan doesn't. And the Browns know they can't waste another season trying to figure out if Gabriel can suddenly develop what he's been missing his entire career.
Forking him, Bobby. He's up out of there, bruh. About damn time.
That it's going to be Shadeur the rest of the way because I think they do see something in him and they want to know, do they need to draft a quarterback in April? They have to know that.
Exactly. Stick a fork in him. Dylan Gabriel's time as the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback is finished. And the reason the Browns are going all in on Shadeur for the rest of the season isn't just about this year. It's about April. It's about the draft. It's about whether they need to spend a first-round pick on a quarterback or if they already have their franchise guy on the roster. They have to know the answer to that question before they walk into that draft room. And the only way to get that answer is to let Shadeur play every single snap for the rest of the season. This is an evaluation period, but it's also a statement. The Browns are telling everyone, including their own locker room, that Shadeur Sanders is the future. They're not hedging. They're not playing it safe. They're putting all their chips on the table and saying, we believe this kid can be the answer. That takes guts. Most organizations would keep flip-flopping, keep rotating quarterbacks, keep trying to avoid making a definitive call. But Cleveland just made theirs. And honestly, it's the smartest thing they've done all season. Dylan had his chance. He had weeks to prove he could lead this offense, make the throws, handle the pressure, and elevate his teammates. He didn't. He looked hesitant. He looked uncomfortable. He looked like a quarterback who didn't belong on an NFL field. Meanwhile, Shadeur came in and immediately showed something different. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't flawless. But it was enough to make the coaching staff believe they had something worth investing in. And that belief is what separates franchise quarterbacks from career backups.
And my whole column that I just wrote was about the fact that even if he starts the rest of these games, it's still going to be difficult to know the answer to that question based in part on what's going on around him on this terrible offense this season. But so I think Dylan will be back with the team next year. I don't know if he's going to get much of an opportunity the rest of this year.
Now here's where things get complicated. Even with Shadeur starting the rest of the season, it's still going to be tough to fully evaluate him. And that's not because of anything Shadeur is doing wrong. It's because this offense is an absolute disaster. The offensive line can't protect. The receivers aren't getting open consistently. The play calling has been questionable at best. And when you're trying to evaluate a young quarterback in that kind of environment, it's like trying to judge a driver's skill while their car is on fire. You're not getting an accurate picture. But here's the thing. The Browns know that. They understand the offense is broken. They understand Shadeur is working with limited tools. And yet, they're still choosing to ride with him instead of going back to Dylan. That tells you everything you need to know. They'd rather see what Shadeur can do in a terrible situation than watch Dylan struggle in that same situation. Because even in chaos, Shadeur is showing flashes. He's showing resilience. He's showing the kind of mental toughness you can't teach. Dylan never showed that. He folded under pressure. He made excuses. He looked defeated. The Browns are betting that even if the evaluation isn't perfect, even if the circumstances aren't ideal, Shadeur will show enough to convince them he's worth building around. And if he does, they can use their draft capital to fix the offense around him instead of burning it on another quarterback. That's smart roster management. That's thinking long-term. And that's why Dylan Gabriel's season is over. He wasn't part of the long-term plan. Shadeur is.
I think he's showing some things, and I just posted a column about this and where I think this might be going and what the situation is. I think he's showing some signs that perhaps maybe he actually can be a winning quarterback in the NFL. And the things that I see that make me believe this, and why I think the Browns probably believe this to a certain extent, is the fact that he does sort of have that it factor. He's got a nice, strong arm. He's got the ability to evade the rush. He's showing some things. He's got elite accuracy, a really nice touch on the ball. I think what makes this evaluation difficult is that the offense is horrible. And I think it's hard for any quarterback right now. I think even an established veteran might have a tough time stepping in here and trying to function with the way that this offense has gone this season.
This right here is why Cleveland made the call. This is why Dylan is done and Shadeur is the guy. The analyst nailed it. Shadeur has that factor. He's got a strong arm, elite accuracy, a beautiful touch on the ball, and the ability to escape pressure and make plays outside the pocket. Those aren't things you can coach into someone. You either have them or you don't. Dylan didn't. Shadeur does. And that's the difference between a career backup and a potential franchise quarterback. What stands out most is the way Shadeur carries himself. He's got confidence without arrogance. He's got poise under pressure. He's got that intangible ability to make the people around him believe they can win even when the odds are stacked against them. That's leadership. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't make excuses. They find a way to compete no matter what's happening around them. And Shadeur has been doing that since day one. The evaluation is difficult because the offense is terrible. But even in a terrible offense, Shadeur is showing things that make you believe. He's threading passes into tight windows. He's extending plays with his legs. He's staying calm in the pocket, even when he's getting hit. Those are the traits that translate. Those are the traits that tell you a quarterback can win in the NFL. Dylan never showed those traits. He looked overwhelmed. He looked like the moment was too big for him. Shadeur looks like he belongs. And here's the key thing. Even an established veteran would struggle in this offense right now. The pieces around the quarterback are broken. The protection is inconsistent. The weapons aren't consistent. But Shadeur is still finding ways to move the ball and give his team a chance to win. That's not easy. That's impressive. And that's why the Browns are willing to commit the rest of the season to him. They see a guy who can win despite the circumstances. That's rare. That's valuable. And that's exactly what they need to know before making any major decisions in April.
I think a major reason for that is the fact that Jerry Jeudy, for whatever reason, is not himself this year. And remember, Joe Flacco said, as Jerry goes, so goes this offense. And it just hasn't worked out this season. And I'm sure it has a lot to do with the quarterback upheaval, but we saw the sideline confrontation between Shadeur and Jerry. So when your number one wide receiver is not able to contribute in a meaningful way, it's going to be tough on any quarterback. But I think he has shown signs, and he deserves a chance to keep going. I like the 1 week at a time thing. I like that because it keeps him hungry. Shadeur has, right? I mean, he has a way of feeling like he has arrived after he wins a game, whether it be preseason or regular season. And he doesn't need to be feeling like he's arrived yet. He needs to stay hungry and just.
And this brings us to one of the biggest issues plaguing the Browns' offense this season. Jerry Jeudy. Joe Flacco said it best earlier this year. As Jerry goes, so goes this offense. And Jerry hasn't been going anywhere. For whatever reason, Jeudy isn't himself this season. He's not making the plays. He's not creating separation. He's not being the reliable number one receiver this offense desperately needs. And when your top weapon isn't contributing, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. It's going to be a struggle. We saw the sideline confrontation between Shadeur and Jerry. That wasn't just frustration. That was a young quarterback trying to hold his receiver accountable. That was Shadeur refusing to accept mediocrity from the people around him. And honestly, that's exactly the kind of leadership this team needs. Dylan never did that. Dylan never demanded more from his teammates. He just accepted whatever effort they gave and moved on. Shadeur won't do that. He expects excellence, and he's not afraid to call people out when they fall short. That's how you build a winning culture. Now, some of Jeudy's struggles are absolutely tied to the quarterback chaos this season. It's hard for a receiver to get into rhythm when the guy throwing in the ball keeps changing. But at the same time, elite receivers find ways to produce no matter who's under center. Jeudy hasn't done that, and that's made Shadeur's job exponentially harder. When your number one receiver isn't reliable, you're forcing a young quarterback to do even more with even less. That's not a fair evaluation. But Shadeur is handling it anyway. That's what separates him. The Browns are taking the right approach by keeping things week to week for Shadeur. They're not handing him the job for the rest of his career. They're making him earn it one game at a time. And that's smart. Shadeur has a tendency to feel like he's arrived after a big win. He gets comfortable. He lets his guard down. The Browns don't want that. They want him hungry. They want him fighting for every snap, every throw, every opportunity. Because if he stays hungry, if he stays locked in, he has the talent to be a legitimate starting quarterback in this league. Dylan never had that hunger. He played like someone who was just happy to be there. Shadeur plays like someone who refuses to settle for anything less than greatness. That mentality matters. That mindset matters. And that's why Dylan Gabriel's season is over and Shadeur Sanders is the future. In the end, the Browns' decision to officially bench Dylan Gabriel for the remainder of 2025 comes down to one simple truth. They see something in Shadeur Sanders that they never saw in Gabriel. They see a quarterback with the arm talent, the leadership, the mental toughness, and the competitive fire to potentially be a franchise guy. Is the evaluation going to be perfect? No. The offense is a mess. The weapons are inconsistent. The circumstances aren't ideal. But even in those conditions, Shadeur is showing enough to make Cleveland believe. Dylan had his chance. He didn't take advantage of it. Now it's Shadeur's turn. And if he continues to show progress, continues to lead, continues to fight through the chaos, the Browns might just have their answer. They might not need to draft a quarterback in April. They might already have him on a roster. And if that's the case, this decision to bench Dylan Gabriel will go down as one of the smartest moves Cleveland made all season. If you want to see more breakdowns on Shadeur Sanders and the Browns' quarterback situation, hit that like button and subscribe. Do you think the Browns made the right call benching Dylan Gabriel? Or should they have given him more time? Let me know in the comments.